So, okay, just allow me to paint the picture, right? Ek dink dit is al so 4 jaar terug, my wiskunde. Wat ek by my seun se skool ingeloop het and dit was so 'n oop dag. And I walked in en hier van verre af hoor ek klanke, maar dis die mees beautifulste klanke wat ek nog ooit gehoor het. And thinking that Thabiso, you're a village boy, you're supposed to most probably be like in Kwaito or something like that. But ek moet vir jou sê, hierdie klanke het my so emosioneel gemaak. Like. En toe ek nou daar wegloop, toe sê ek vir my vrou, man, ons het die regte keuse gemaak om ons seun in hierdie skool in te sit. Ek is so trots op myself en ek dink dit is 'n baie goeie keuse wat ons gemaak het. Man, fast forward a few years later, my boy decides that he actually wants to be in this band. En I'm gonna out him just a little bit, want hy was veronderstel om hierso te wees. En toe gebeur... Jaden, hy was veronderstel om hierso te wees. Okay, dis nou my vrou se stem wat jy nou gaan hoor. Toe gebeur hierdie.
Liefde, ek dink ek gaan jou met vra om vir Jaden op te tel, want ja, simpel. Die het met die koortse sleutel saam met hom vandag skool toe gaan. Yeah. So I don't know if you'll be able to pick him up at school after the show.
En dis hoekom hy nie hierso is nie, maar die res van sy band members is hierso. The Pretoria Boys High School Pie Band is in the building. I'm going to be chatting to James and Angus. Welcome to Jacaranda FM, gentlemen.
Thanks very much, Tubbs.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah.
Man, julle is hierso, julle is in full kit, and of course you brought I'm so ek is so oningelig wanneer dit kom by hierdie. My son had to tell me that it's not a dress. It's not a dress, right? It's a kilt.
Yeah. No, it's called a kilt because I killed the last person who called it a skirt. That's why.
There we go. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, Angus, you had a heavy metal pie band.
We're going straight for that.
Straight for the kill.
Yeah, I did back in the day. Yeah, that was before my teaching time. Yeah, I had a band called Haggis and Bong. We used to play. We recorded 2 albums. We used to play at all the major festivals around the country. It was a good time, and yeah, we pushed it quite hard. Pushed the envelope. I think instrumental and metal. Yeah, it was cool.
That is so cool. But okay, the reason why we're here is I want to know. So next week it's quite a big week for you. But before we get there, man, I just want to know the culture behind a pipe band. You know, the culture, and also, of course, where this started for Pretoria Boys High.
Yeah, so I mean, the history of pipe bands in South Africa starts with the military history. Okay. You know, when the Boer War or the South African War, as I believe it's referred to now, kicked off, there were a lot of Scottish regiments here, and a lot of great pipers came with them. And then, following on from that, a lot of South African military regiments were established that had pipe bands like the Transvaal Scottish or the Pretoria Highlanders or one medical battalion in Durban, the Cape Town Highlanders. And for Pretoria Boys, just before 1971, Pipe Major Waters from the Pretoria Highlanders Regiment, started assisting the teacher in charge back then, Mr. Peter Digby, and basically built up a pipe band for which we are eternally grateful. Angus and I are both products of that very band ourselves.
Yeah.
And we play for the Pretoria Highlanders today. Angus is the Pipe Major of the Pretoria Highlanders. And so it's a really cool tie-in with history. You know, we teach at the school. The Pretoria Highlanders band is still going. It's not. It's more an association band these days. It's not a regimental band per se. And yeah, we just carry on that legacy. They marched out for the first time in 1971, and so we celebrate that as our founding date. Yeah.
Man, now I must ask you guys personally, why the interest though? Why not something else? Why not sports? Why not be a radio presenter? Why?
Well, I think for me and for James as well, we both have, both of us have Irish heritage. I also have Scottish heritage. So for me, I grew up with my grandfather playing records back in those days with pipe bands playing, and it was always this magical thing for me. And I attempted to learn initially at school, unsuccessfully, and then landed up playing rugby. And then towards the end of my schooling, I decided, no, I just want to do it. And in my Form 4, grade 11 year, I pushed really hard and got myself into the band. And from there, basically, it became the biggest passion of my life.
Sure,
and drove really hard to play as well as I could. And here we are today. Yeah.
No, man, I can definitely see that it's quite something, because I think the first time that I went to go watch Jaden play, it was when you guys were at Pirates, and I got so emotional, I started crying, and I was like, and why? I think it's also because it's such a beautiful sound, and it's a sound that we aren't really used to.
Yeah.
But we got in, and we are literally celebrating and showing the diversity that we also have as a country,
Yeah.
But tell me, what does this mean when it comes to discipline with the boys, and what does this mean when it comes to basically them having to show up?
Sure. I mean, the only discipline we really have to focus on is their dedication to the craft. When you commit to playing in a band, you commit to hours of
Practicing, of course.
Over and above that, we've got a really great culture in the band at the moment, and it's really coming from the matrics, from these guys down, of taking pride in how you look, making sure your shoes are polished.
100%.
We call our shoes ghillie brogues. Making sure your kilt is not creased, So that culture's great, and I'm very grateful that they've fostered that. And I don't actually have to worry about that at all. We just carry on, and that's how things are. And then over and above that, the discipline is, are you committing to this activity and knowing that you're going to have to do at least an hour every day for us to win?
And the guys, now that James mentions that, the Matrix also have taken a lot of ownership, I think, of the music themselves.
Yeah.
Organizing their own practices outside of the normal band practice time,
love
sometimes
that.
meeting up during breaks to go through the music and really pushing for perfection. So take my hat off to them for sure.
And that's why they are leading, the number one novice juvenile drum corps in the country.
Yeah.
Consistently. That
Come on
comes
now.
from them.
And arguably, I think, to my knowledge, the biggest drum corps that the school has actually ever fielded.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty cool times, yeah.
Super amazing. We're going to talk about the 14th in a moment. The Pretoria Boys High School pipe band in the Jacaranda FM building. The voices that you're hearing is the voice of James and the voice of Angus. En natuurlik, ek gaan nie laat gaan sonder dat hulle vir ons moet speel nie. Hulle gaan natuurlik vir ons speel, en dit 'n klein bietjie later. The Pretoria Boys High School pipe band is with us in the Jacaranda FM building, chatting to James and Angus. Now, next week, there is a very big event happening, of course, at Pretoria Boys High. Gentlemen, let us know. I know that planning has been happening. There's been a lot of things happening in the background that we don't necessarily even know of. Let us know what is happening Saturday on the 14th at Boys High.
Oh, so it's our annual Highland Gathering. It's the only one in Pretoria at the moment.
Sure.
And basically, all of the bands that enter in Gauteng, I'm just approximating here, be about 16 bands, come and perform, compete throughout the day in different grades. There's a Highland dancing competition as well, which is another community affiliated with ours, being kept going by a lot of passionate people as well. So us in association with the Pipe Bands Association of Southern Africa, put on this event, and then we have a craft market going on. We have food stalls, and we just attract a lot of feet. People come throughout the day, families come through. There are one or two activities for kids, and people come, they just make themselves comfortable, they listen to the bands. A lot of them come for the absolute highlight, which is the massed pipes and drums.
Okay, when is that? So is that like towards the end of the day?
All right.
Normally about 4:30, where all the bands get together and we perform as one large massed band. And they do the awards. So we're very lucky. We have Mitmac Motors on board this year as our main sponsor, and they've come along and helping us with our costs.
Bobby,
Bobby, we're very, very grateful.
That's
Nice
so
plug.
cool.
And so they'll have cars on display as well at the event. So you've got we've got the Pretoria Old Motor Club that also come through and show their first loves to everyone who's willing to come and see. And so it's quite a established event in Pretoria, and we've got like a group of loyal attendees that are there every year. But yeah,
I'm really happy about that because my wife was actually telling me this, and she's like, dude, what can we do to support as well, you know? And I love the supporting, and Darren Scott actually also spoke highly about using this medium that we have to actually support others and to put light. And when I saw what I saw, because the first time I saw Jaden was at Pirates, and then the second time was when you guys were at Jeppe.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, we need more lighting on this, because not only has it been good for me and my soul, I must say I see how good it is for my son, you know.
Yeah.
He's so disciplined, and I see how he's enjoying it, and I see how he gets home, he practices, like you say, like, and that's all that we hear in the house. And he practices, but not only that, it teaches him a lot of discipline in his very own life as well, when it comes to studies and all of that, right? And at that, do you guys have any like pub band myths?
Well, it's definitely not a cat that we strangle and squeeze to get that sound. That's the first myth I would like to dispel right now. I mean, we're allowed to go commando under our kilts now because there's a king on the throne of England.
Yeah, that's fair.
But but Queen Elizabeth, she kept us pretty constricted for a while. So we were very sad at her death, but also a little bit excited. What other myths are there, hey?
I'm trying to think as well, hey?
Yeah, haggis, I mean, look, the myth about haggis being a real creature, the size of a Jack Russell running around in Scotland, that one's true.
And they actually have legs that are longer on the one side of their building than the other, on their body, rather, than the other, because they're used to running around a mountain only one way. So if you want to catch a haggis, then you just have to chase it the other way around the mountain, and it runs in a circle and falls over.
Yeah, those myths are totally
easy
true.
pickings. That's definitely real. Yeah.
But the rest are all lies.
And the myth that you guys met Makatini? Is that it?
Shame, these guys, you know, I mean, one of the great things about our current band is that we're so multi-ethnic, you know, multicultural.
Yes.
And whereas there's some, you know, back when we were in school, mostly it was just the white kids in the school that were competing in that. But a lot of our boys that walk to school in their uniform, ready to come and compete, get on the bus and go to a competition, they just get Makatini called to them across the street, and they don't even know the reference, you know. They're too young for the lunch bar advert.
What a legend,
All right, so for someone that's listening to this for the very first time, the band is going to be performing in a moment. Why should they make a plan to come this Saturday?
I think it's the kind of thing that blows you away.
Man, I can definitely. I so agree with you. Yes,
and
that emotional response.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously, just to broaden your horizons, experience some other kind of music and culture going on right here in South Africa. That's got roots all the way in Scotland. It's a rare occasion, actually. There's only 7 of them, and like Mr. or James says, there's only one that happens in Pretoria. So a lot of people I hear often say, I wish I had known about it, because I always hear about it afterwards, and then I wish I could have gone. So if you're listening to this now, you've been warned. Your date's booked for next Saturday.
Yeah, I'm just warning you, you might get hooked though, because I always run into people at that event that are, yes, I came here in 2002 and I haven't missed a single one.
Yeah, even me, everyone where Jaden is, I was like, I am coming. And talk about that, you know, if there's someone listening right now and they want to be like part of this, and they want to actually be part of a band even, is that possible?
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it depends on obviously what level they're at. If you're living in Pretoria, well, we're actually the only band really going at the moment, run through the Pretoria Highlanders. So I'm sure we can organise to get our details put up on the Jacaranda socials 100%. Or something like that, and people could contact us through there.
That'd be good.
But even kids in primary schools, you know, if you're a young man keen to come to Pretoria Boys and you're in primary school, we'll start tutoring you already. And you don't need any musical knowledge or training. You know, we start from scratch. Nice. Obviously, you need some musical ability, but we'll figure that out along the way. But, I mean, it's a very expensive trade, but we supply everything. We've got pipes in storage, waiting for players. We'll lend them to you until you matriculate. You know, if you're a young lady out there keen to play in a pipe band, the Pretoria Highlanders will tutor you.
Yes.
You know, we'll find a place for you. So, yeah.
What do you call the Pretoria Highlanders?
Our other name, the old nickname is the Jacaranda Jocks.
That was the military regiment's nickname. Like the Transvaal Scottish in Joburg are called the Jocks, so then they call the Pretoria Highlanders the Jacaranda Jocks.
Nice. Sien jy, ons voel die ding, man. Ons voel die ding. Next year when you do this again, you will definitely be seated on those 2 seats because
cool.
we want
Lovely.
people. Yeah, man, we want people to know about this and to come and support. So in 'n oombliekie gaan die band natuurlik vir ons speel. What is on the playlist? What is on the playlist, gentlemen?
Yeah, I think we're going to play an old favorite crowd pleaser, hey?
Yeah.
With the Scotland the Brave set.
Yes.
I think that's probably the most iconic. When
Yeah.
people think bagpipes, they think that tune.
Yep.
That
With
it'll
a-
finish
yeah.
with.
No, don't tell
No,
them.
we're not
There's
gonna give them the secret.
there's a
Yeah.
South African
There's an
twist
Easter egg
at the
for
end.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Specifically-
I can't wait.
Specifically for your Afrikaans listeners,
Yes,
we've
yeah.
curated this one for them.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And the other one is our competition march selection.
Yeah.
Which you've heard us play on Saturdays
Ek
at
is
the
sommer
event.
klaar
Yeah.
lief vir julle. Julle kom definitief terug. Can we arrange for next week already?
Yeah.
You guys have to
Asseblief.
compete next week.
You can come do your show from the gathering next week.
Yeah.
if you like.
100%.
Live from the
You know?
gathering, yeah.
Skimp, my manager. En die Jacaranda FM gebou vandag het ons die Pretoria, nice taps. Die Pretoria Boys High School pipe band en natuurlik hulle gaan vir ons vermaak. Hulle sê hulle het so 'n bietjie van 'n twist ook vir ons ingegooi daarso en ek gaan stil bly and I'm going to give it over to them. Gentlemen, it is over to you. Give us a taste of what we're going to hear on the 14th.
4/4s, eh? Ready? 1, 2.
Man.
Jacaranda FM.